Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today, we're going to talk about even more five of the best watches in the world. We've had two other ones, and if you're wondering why we can have five best watches and then keep having more five best watches, simple. I keep finding these watches that are the best watches in the world. I mean, they're fantastic. And so it's okay to have them in groups of five, I think, a little easier to concentrate on. Now, the first one is by what's a company called Anderson Geneve, but it's by Sven Anderson. Sven Anderson is one of the founders of the AHCI, the independent group of top watchmakers. And he did a watch back in 1996 called the Perpetual Secular Calendar. And then 20 years later, in 2016, he came out with another one that was a little different, but it basically had the same movement. Beautiful, gorgeous watch. This is a 400-year calendar. In other words, it's after 400 years, I guess your ancestors or your progeny will have to take it in and have it adjusted. But it's really an amazing watch. It's really beautiful. On the back, you can see that down there in the lower right, where you have the leap years and you have all kinds of other information so that you can use it for a total of 400 years. It's a kind of horology that is, to me, what good horology does. A good watchmaker, and Finn Anderson is certainly one of the very tops. Now, this next one is another one that just is really amazing. It's a resonance watch, and I like resonance because you have two balance wheels right next to each other, and each one keeps them in resonance, something like two pendulums keeping each other in resonance with one another. This is what Professor Dr. H. Dietrich said about this. He's a professor in Munich, Germany. He said, "It is truly a creation that did not previously exist." He's talking about the kind of thing that Beat HOLLOMAN did with what's the name of the watch is called the HOLLOMAN H2, a flying resonance. And this thing goes around. It's just amazing. And it says that almost like a flower which with invisible inner power develops a previously unknown beauty from its center and then forms a new bud endowed with equal beauty from that same center, a concept of resonance that Mother Nature displays again and again. So if you look closely at this watch, you can the resonance part of it is pretty obvious. It's right there in the top of the dial. You can even see both of the escapements for the two movements within this watch. But the thing that I like about it is that if you look at the minute and the hour hands, they're not coming from the center of the watch. They're on a couple discs, and one disc turns, and then attached to that is the minute hand, and then there's another one, an outer one that's attached to the hour hand. And this is what a timepiece. This is really gorgeous, and to me, it's clearly one of the top watches. Now, both the Anderson watch and this one by HOLLOMAN have been very complex watches. However, like the first group of the five best watches I showed, some of them are quite just time only, very simple. And this next one by Jaime Asoka, the one is called the Tsunami. Now, this is a watch that I would dearly like to have. It is a time-only watch. It's 37 millimeters. That's just sort of on the edge of a good size for the size of my wrist and so forth, and the size that I like. For years, I had an overseas that was 37 millimeters, the original overseas. Not a problem at 37 millimeters. I sort of go from 37 to 42, I think. Anyway, the Tsunami is a beautiful handmade watch. It's got this huge balance wheel on it, and I really like big balance wheels. Caribou and Lana also has these giant balance wheels on it. Now, within this 37 millimeter case, you have a 2.5 hertz, that's 18 vibrations per hour. It lasts 40 hours, which is pretty good within that case. But it's got a 15 millimeter balance wheel. And on the lower right there, you can see that thing. It looks huge in that 37 millimeter case because it is huge. I mean, it's a wonderful balance wheel. Why do I like big balance wheels and the lower movement so well? First of all, the bigger the balance wheel, the more stable it is. And so stability is going to give you better accuracy. Over in the lower left, you can see where the minute hand goes, and it's just sort of a close-up to show you the kind of work that Asoka does. Just an amazing watchmaker, and he does it. He has some complex ones too. This is the other thing. A lot of these guys, I show what I consider the best watch, but some of their watches are far more complex, and Asoka has tourbillons and the usual kind, but this one, to me, says craftsmanship and really, really good watchmaking at the very best. Love this watch. Okay, this next watch is by Bernhard Lederer, Central Impulse Chronometer. Now, this watch was one of several in the, I think it was 2020, maybe 2019, forgot which one it was, in the Grand Prix. And it was one of the finalists. It didn't win, but the other watches were also incredible. But I still like this one the best. It has what amounts to 2 movements and 1 balance wheel. Now, along with that, you have 2 barrels, 2 gear trains, 2 escapements, 2 of everything, and but it just keeps 1 time mechanism, and it does it for the purpose of accuracy. Of all of the groups in the Grand Prix, to me, the chronometer is the most important. Getting, even chosen as a finalist is important. But man, I tell you, that is just amazing. Now, this one is 3 hertz. The other ones I looked at were, I think they're all 2.5 hertz. Maybe they're 3 hertz. I forgot to mention those. Looking at the big ones. Sometimes some of these ones with more complexity will have a higher hertz rate, so that happens too. But this one is a watch I would dearly love to have. All of the trouble with this one and most of the other ones, they're way out of my budget. But this Central Impulse Chronometer is a real feat of mechanical horology. There's no shortcuts in this one. I just love this watch. Now, the final one is by a watchmaker named Vienne Halter. This, again, this is why I say all of their 5 best watches, and I got 5 more best watches. These watches are so incredible. Now, this one is called the Classic Hanvier #1, Moon and Sun, the Astronomical Ballet. And this is exactly what it is. I mean, there's so much to this watch that's amazing. On the dial, you have these 2 blue hands. They look like, I guess, nibs on pins, on fountain pins. The hour one is near the 1 right now, and the minute one is near the 3, or it's actually with 07. Okay, so what about this watch? And what about those hands? Now, just right about at 4 o'clock, you'll see this other hand, and it's got what is a sun on it, a sun shape, and it's a minute hand, but it closely follows the average time. All right, the blue steel one follows the minute hand, and so both the exact solar time and what's called the civil average time are kept on this watch. I'm not sure why. The way the Earth is at an angle throws things off about, I don't know how many seconds a day or how many minutes a day, but it's a number of them, and so you have two different things. One is for what's called the exact solar time, and that's what the sun does. But it's the interesting thing about it is you can compare it with the minute hand, the big blue minute hand. Now, as far as a moon phase is concerned, you have a hand that's on a moon calendar, and you can see it there around beneath the bezel for between 1 and then it goes around to 29. Those are for days, and so that's a monthly moon calendar, and so you can see where the moon is in relation to that, but also you can see in terms of the part that's blocked out. Usually in a moon phase, you have you'll see a part of it come up and it's blocked, but here you can see what's blocking it, and so you have the Earth's shadow is one of the things that blocks it. But this watch is just amazing. It's called a Caliber VH110, 4 hertz. This is a 4 hertz one. This thing has got a lot to do. These are the astronomical complications. It has an hour, minute, small seconds, walking equation of time. That's up in the upper left corner there, that little subdial. Moon phase, lunar calendar, and annual calendar. So this watch, I just love this watch. You flip it over on the back, and what you have on the back, you have what is called the VH Mystery Mass Winding Rotor. And I'm looking at that, I'm not sure what that is. It could be that piece around sort of looks like a sub bezel or sort of an inside bezel. That may be the one going around. I'm really not sure. And then it has on this little gold ring the months. And so this is where you get your what I'll call the regular calendar instead of the lunar calendar. This watch, though, is, again, this is something where you have this incredible talent. I mean, it's got 40 hours, and I think, 40 hours with an automatic is plenty, because it doesn't, when you're wearing it and stuff, it's not giving up time. This watch, I think just learning everything that this watch does will teach you about different kinds of astronomical events going on that affect the time. So anyway, so these are even 5 more watches that are, I think, the best watches in the world. And of course, I'd really like to hear what you think and which one of these you like. And of all of them, I think the only one I could even come near affording is the Asoka, and it keeps going up because it's so good too. Let me know what you think. And this is an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. And in the meantime, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Society, the Art and Science of Watch Collection.